So we'll get started. Welcome everyone to your Wellbeing Unleashed. It's how to set heartful goals for a thriving 2024. And in this session, we're going to look at how we can set those goals to set us up for success in improving our well-being, whatever that might look like for us in this new year of 2024. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Caroline Woolley, and I am a holistic therapist offering holistic treatments in person, but I'm also a well-being and life coach. And I use a combination of well-being training, cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness, and other techniques to help people to manage their stress, to improve their sleep, to have a more fulfilling life, to deal with sort of negative thoughts and self-talk, and generally to have a happier and more thriving life. And in this session this evening, I'd like to have a look with you at how to set heartful goals. And I'll go into a bit more detail about what that means. I'm kind of aware that at this point in the year, we're kind of just over a month into a new year now. Quite often, if we have set New Year's resolutions, they are starting, motivation starting to wane a little bit. And maybe we're starting to be a bit less successful with them. That initial enthusiasm has gone, and we're struggling to stay on track with whatever goals it is we set for ourselves. Or maybe we didn't quite feel like setting any goals straight after Christmas. I certainly don't like to do that early in January. It's cold, it's wet. There's lots of things that need finishing off from the Christmas period. It's quite a tiring period, isn't it? And it can be quite stressful as well. So I don't think necessarily that January is always the best time to start on new habits, which is what we're talking about really. So I like to do it after a few weeks as we are now into the new year. So hopefully, whether you're watching here live or whether you're watching back on the recording, you've been able to grab a piece of paper and a pen, or maybe the notes app on your phone or your iPad, something, because we're going to work through a process to help you set those heartful goals. I'll just bring up my notes. So this is how it's going to work. I'm going to do a bit of a process with you as a presentation, and talk you through the process that I go through myself to help set my wellbeing goals for the year. And you can do this as many times as you want throughout the year as well. You don't have to just do it at the beginning of the year. This is a useful exercise at any point when you want to sort of set off with a new habit. And it'll help us to work on setting an action plan if we've already got a goal in mind, or to help us find the right goal if we're not quite sure what it is we want to do. There'll be an opportunity at the end of the session for a Q&A. I'm not going to record that bit. That's just for the people that are here live. But if you have got any questions and you are watching on the recording, then by all means, email or message me them directly and I'll respond to you that way. Yeah, please hang on to any questions that you've got as we're going along, make a note of them, and we'll do a Q&A at the end. So this process that I'm going to talk you through today, the Heartful Goals process, is appropriate to any kind of goal. We're talking here mainly about well-being, so we're talking about both physical well-being and emotional well-being, but you could easily apply this process to any kind of goal that you want to set for yourself to improve your life in any way. And it's about creating new habits that are sustainable and that move us closer to our goals bit by bit. There are no quick fixes, unfortunately, in life. Everything is a process. But this heartful goals process is going to hopefully help you to circumnavigate those things that tend to make us fail when we're trying to hit new goals and start new habits. So things like our motivation running out, our enthusiasm running out, life getting in the way, things like that. Hopefully, if you've set your goals up in the right way from the beginning, those things are not going to cause you as many problems. So I want to start with a phrase, and I'd just like you to jot down what this makes you think of when I say this phrase to you. And that phrase is, you are not broken. You are not broken. What does that make you think of, and how does that make you feel? And the reason that I ask you that question is because quite often, especially when it comes to New Year's resolutions, those goals are always about things that we want to stop doing or things that we want to achieve, but that mean that we have to sacrifice something, or that they make us think that there is something about how we are right here, right now, that is not right. We're not somehow fully functioning um, human beings because there's something about us that's broken or not right in some way. And actually, when you think about it, that's a really negative place to start from. And it's also not true. The whole point of being human is that we are not perfect, in inverted commas. We are human, and that means that we are fallible. And life is about a balance as well. So, it's not achievable for us to strive for perfection all of the time. And it's not achievable or even desirable either to expect that we would be perfect all of the time at every part of our well-being. We're all just doing our best. And we all have lives, we have families, we have careers, we have friends, we have challenges that come up in our lives, we have emotions, we have thoughts, we have all sorts of things that are going to get in our way. But actually, where we are right now is okay. We're doing okay. The point of setting goals is just to move us to somewhere different. If we try to say that we'll be happier when we get to that other place, that's not really going to work for us because it's very rarely true. You only have to speak to people who have maybe lost a lot of weight or run a marathon or have made lots of money. Maybe they've won the lottery or worked hard and earned lots of money. It doesn't necessarily make them happier. Actually, what makes us happier is the process that we go through to get there. All those sense of achievement, the way that we grow as a person during that process of trying to come about to build a new habit and to reach a new goal. That's what actually gives us personal development. So we're going to actually start from what might seem to be a bit of a weird place, really, when we're talking about the goals that we've got for 2024 in the next few weeks and months. And we're actually going to start with a review of last year. So I want you to cast your minds back to 2023. Now, we'll all have had different years, but I can guarantee that for none of us, the whole year will have been bad from January to December. There will have been ups, there will have been downs, hopefully more ups than downs, but not necessarily. That's not how life works. There will have been challenges, there will have been successes. We'll have had everything. Every year, every month, every week, every day sometimes is a bit of a mishmash, isn't it, of all of those things for all of us. But it's quite natural for our brains, particularly, which are trying to keep us safe, essentially, to always focus on the negatives. So when you think back over last year, if you think of sort of three significant things that happened, the chances are, unless you had some really big happy events, like births, marriages, new jobs, things like that, the chances are that at least two of the three things that you remember most from last year are negative things, because that's just the negative bias that our brain has and nothing we can do about it. So we're going to think back over the last year and see whether we can actually think of three things that we're proud of ourselves for last year. And just write those down. Three things from last year that you think, yeah, you know what? I'm really proud of that. I did really well. Now, you might find this quite easy, or you might find it quite difficult. And it can definitely be a bit of a challenge if you're not used to thinking of yourself in positive terms. But just do your best. If you can only come up with one or two, that's absolutely fine for now. Just jot down what you can. But keep thinking about it, and maybe later this evening you'll think of something else that you can come and add to the list. But just try and think of 3 things from last year where you're proud of yourself. And then I want you to think of any goal that you've already set for yourself for this year. So it might be the obvious ones. It might be that you'd like to lose some weight, or you want to start a regular mindfulness practice. You want to start going to a yoga class. You want to change jobs. You want to drink more water. You want to drink less alcohol. Whatever it is, if you've got a goal in mind that you want to achieve, just write it down for me in your own words. And then when you've written it down, I just want you to read back over it and just ask yourself whether it's a positive goal. So using words like lose weight, drink less alcohol are quite negatives, aren't they? They're a negative way of looking at it, something that you want to change, that you want to do less of. And automatically, our brain, when it reads that, little alarm bells start going off in our heads to say, oh, this is something that's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be painful. I need to protect you from these words on the page or these words in your head. And the reason that it does that is because it wants to keep you safe. So you're already behind on your quest for success with your goal because your brain is already working against you. You're going to find it much harder to be motivated for a long time. And you're going to find that you've got much less enthusiasm to actually achieve this goal because your brain is perceiving it as a negative. So if your goal is negative, I want to see whether you can reframe it, as we call it, and just change the words and make it more positive. So, for example, I'll give you some examples just to give you an idea. So, for example, if yours is that you want to lose weight, it could be that you would like to feel better in your body, or that your goal is to be able to wear your favorite pair of jeans. If it's that you want to be less tired, it might be that your goal is actually to sleep a full 8 hours of sleep. So we're reframing it into something positive. And it might seem like a small, insignificant thing, but actually it's really important for helping our brains to feel safe. And at the end of the day, it's our brains that run our subconscious, and it's our subconscious that's going to kick in when things get tough. And are going to help keep us on track if our brain and our subconscious are on our side already. And we can do that by making it into a positive statement. And then not once you've got your positive reframed goal, whatever that might be, physical, emotional, career, life, family, I want you to think of 3 things, if you can, that you've done in the past that would have helped to get you to that goal. You might not be doing them right now, but 3 things that you've done in the past that have helped you. So if you've lost weight in the past, what were you doing that worked to help you lose that weight? If you're wanting to change jobs, what 3 things have you done in the past when you've wanted to change job that meant that you actually did change job in the past? whatever it is that you've written down there, just see if you can think of 3 things and jot them down that you've done in the past that have moved you closer to that goal, if you've achieved it in the past. Obviously, if you haven't ever tried this before, then maybe, well, we'll come on to that in a minute. You can leave that blank for now. But if you have, then write down 3 things that you've done in the past that have helped. And then underneath that, I'd like you to write down 3 things that you're doing right now that are moving you closer to your goal. It might only be a tiny little bit, but you are doing them. So maybe you are having a healthy breakfast. It's just after that that it goes wrong. It might be that you are actively looking for a new job. So 3 things, if possible. If you're going to think of 1 or 2, then say just start with that for now. Just write 1, 2, 3, and then you can come back and fill in the gaps later. But 3 things that you're doing right now that are going to move you closer to that goal. Even if they're only tiny little things and they're not on their own, they're not going to be enough, but they are part of the picture. And then finally, I'd like you to write down 3 things that you could be doing, but that you're not at the minute and that you never have done in the past. So are there 3 things that you know would help, but for whatever reason, maybe you've not been brave enough, or maybe you've not got enough information about what's involved, or for some other reason, you've never actually given them a go, but they would move you closer to your goal. Maybe they just feel scary. Maybe it's about talking to someone or doing a presentation or a training course or something that is daunting to you. So you've never actually given it a go, but you know that if you did, it could move you closer to your goal. So when you've done that, hopefully you should have a list of 9 things. 3 things that you've done in the past that have helped, but that you're not doing right now. 3 things, even if they're small things that you're doing right now that are moving you closer to your goal. And 3 things that you've never done and are not doing at the minute, but you know if you did do them, it would move you closer to that goal. And I say, if you've got a few gaps, don't worry about it. Once you've had a bit more time to think about it, you can come back and fill those in. So the next part of the process is to put a smiley face next to the things that you are doing right now and that are moving that needle forward. So that middle 3 blocks, put a little smiley face next to those things because we want you to continue to do those. You're already doing them, so it should be fairly simple just to keep going and doing those things every day. And this is where the difference comes in. We need to be doing these things consistently. Consistency of action is key to helping us achieve any goal. So put a little smiley face next to those things that you are doing right now. Give yourself a pat on the back and well done for doing them, and promise to yourself to keep doing them. You'll need to write those out, maybe in the back of your diary or on a post-it and stick it to a mirror somewhere where you can keep those visually available to you as a reminder to keep doing those things. And next to the things that you've done in the past, but that you're not doing right now, I'd like you to put a little star next to just one of those that you think that you could quite easily start doing. It's something you've done before, so you know how to do it. You know that it moves you closer to your goal, but for whatever reason, it's dropped off your radar and you've not been doing it recently. Put a little star next to just one of them. Not all 3, just one of them that you'd like to start doing again. And then from the list of things that you've not done before and are not doing at the minute, but that you know if you did do would move you closer to that goal, why don't you just choose one that you're going to have a go at? and just underline that one. So you should hopefully have 3 smiley faces next to the 3 things that you're doing already. You've chosen one of the first group and put a little star next to it of the things that you used to do, and so that you're going to have a go at doing that again. And then the things that you've never done before, you've underlined one that you're going to have a go at. It doesn't matter at this stage if you don't know how to go about doing it, if you've not got all the information you need, or whether it still scares you to have a go at it. Just underline it as something that you'd like to try. So that would give us, if we were to do all of those things, 5 things that we could do every day that are going to move us closer to that goal. But before we start putting those things into action, we need to check that our goals and our actions towards those goals are heart and not smart. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So if you've had any kind of corporate type job, you'll have heard of SMART goals. It's something that people have been going on about for a long time. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And it's kind of an acronym that you can use to look at your goals and see whether they are right for you. Are they really specific about what it is you want to achieve, so it's clear to you? Is it something that you can measure and say, yes, I definitely achieved that because I can measure it? Is it something that's actually achievable, so you're not asking for too much? It's not something that is never going to happen. Is it relevant? So is it something that's actually going to move you closer to your goal? And is it time bound? So have you put a deadline on it by which time you want to put it into action? Now, SMART, I don't want to sort of disrespect it completely. It does have its place, but it also has its limitations. So today we're not going to consider SMART, you'll be pleased to hear. We're going to look at HEART instead, HEART. So I want you to think back over those actions that you've starred, underlined, and put smiley faces next to, the 5 of them. And as I go through them, I want you to ask yourself each of these questions related to heart. These are our heartful goals. So H is for healthy. So is that action healthy? And that can be in different ways. So is it something that's healthy for us physically? And is it healthy emotionally? So I'll give you an example of what I mean. So if our goal is, for example, to lose some weight and get fit, and one of the actions that we've set is to go to the gym every single day for 3 hours, that's not healthy. So it wouldn't be a heart action, it wouldn't be a heart goal. Similarly, if it's that we want to restrict our calorie intake to only 500 calories a day to lose weight, yes, that might help us lose weight, but it's not healthy. It's not a healthy way of doing it. So it would not meet these criteria. So whatever your action points are, those 5 action points that you've got that are going to move you towards your ultimate goal, are they healthy? And that's both physically, but also for your emotions. Are they healthy? Are they going to make you happy? So E is for enduring. So are these things that you are going to be able to keep doing day in, day out? So again, just going back to the example that I've just given, if it was to restrict your calories to 500 calories a day, are you going to be able to sustain that for a long time? I don't think so. So it wouldn't be enduring. So just have a look and see whether it's something that you think that you could do day in, day out, without fail, pretty much. We'll come on to that in a little bit about if we fall off the wagon. But just in general, could you stick to it most days for as long as it takes to reach your long-term goal? And that could be weeks, months, even years in some cases, if it's a long-term goal. Is it enduring? So we've got healthy and we've got enduring. The A is for alluring. When you read that action point, is it something that gets you excited? Is it something that you think, yeah, I can do this? Is it alluring? Because if it isn't, the chances are that once that initial enthusiasm and motivation fade, you're going to give up. So it needs to be something that's really alluring. And one of the ways to test that is to try and vision what it's going to look like when you achieve your goal. Does that make you feel excited? Can you picture it in your mind? Do you feel excited when you're in that space? Or do you think you'll still feel unhappy in some way? Is it alluring? The R is for relevant. So that's the same as in SMART. So is that action point, is it actually relevant to your end goal? Is it actually going to get you there? Or is it something that you've heard of and you think might be a good idea, but actually is not going to move you closer to your goal? Or it's maybe something that's, is simple to do and that you can do, but it's not actually going to make a difference. Is it relevant? And then finally, the T is for truth. Is it true? Is it true that that thing will move you closer to your goal? So that's the same as relevant in some ways. But also, is it true for you, or is it something that you think you should be doing? Is it your truth? Or have you just heard from someone else that it's a good thing to do? Or have you heard from someone else that it's something that you should be doing? Why are you doing it? Is it true to your values? Is it something that you truly believe in? Or are you just working on the back of what you think society wants from you or what friends and family want from you? That's a really key one, and it can be a difficult one to work through. So we've got healthy, enduring, alluring, relevant, and true. And if you can say that all 5 of those are true for your particular action plan and your end goal, then these are the steps that you need to be taking to reach your goal. That's the Heartful Goals principle. So if they are, then draw a big circle around them, because these are the things that you are going to do consistently. And if they're not, then you need to think of some other action steps that you can take. So you might need to do a bit more research, you might need to ask for a bit more help, or you might need to just have a think to yourself about what other things you could do that would be hard and that would move you closer to your goal. And then if you can, we're going to try and do all 5 of those things. It depends how big a things you've chosen. But as I keep saying, the key thing here is consistent action is what moves you forward. So it doesn't need to be big action, doesn't need to be huge things that you're doing. It just needs to be consistent action. So if one of your goals, for example, is to drink 2 litres of water every day, and you think that's true, you think that is good for your health to do that, then that's not probably going to be achievable overnight if you're not drinking hardly any at the minute. So if you're trying to drink 2 litres straight away, you're probably just going to end up running backwards and forwards to the toilet. You're going to get fed up and you're going to give up, or you're going to forget to drink because you're not used to doing it. But if you can take consistent action and drink 1 glass of water every day for the next week, and then up it to 2 and then 3 and so on, you're more likely to stick with it. And that's the key bit. A habit needs forming, and there's some conjecture over exactly how many times you have to repeat an action for it to become a habit that you don't even have to think about. but it's a lot of times. Let's just face that. We're not going to put a number on it because it's different for different people and for different habits. But the more you can do something consistently day in, day out, the more likely it is that it sticks as a habit and sticks with you. So if you can take each of those 5 things that we've, the 3 smiley faces, the one that you've starred and the one that you've underlined, as long as they are heart, then if you can do each of those 5 things every day, I guarantee it will move you closer to your goal. Now, it might be that you need to review that after a while if they're not moving you there as quickly as you'd like or as much as you'd like, and bring in some different ones, but they will move you closer if you've got the right goals. Then, after you've started making this, taking this action day in, day out, it can be really helpful as well before you get too far into the process to just stop and think about any challenges that you can preempt are going to come up along the way. Because this again is going to help you to gain success. Because if you already know those challenges are going to come along, you can do something to preempt them and to ward them off. So, for example, I know I'm talking a lot here about healthy eating and things like that, but I know that's one that people are very keen on this kind of time of year. But the principles do apply to any kind of goal. But let's say that one of your goals is to, eat healthily every day. One of the challenges that you might be able to foresee coming up is that you've got a really, really busy day at work, and then you've got meetings after work. You've got to get the children to some club as well, and you're not going to get home until 9 o'clock at night. For me, that would be a challenge to then eat healthily. If I'm tired and I'm stressed and I've had a busy day, I'm going to be less likely to pick something healthy to eat. But if you know that's coming and you've already pre-empted it, you can mitigate for it. So you can already have some kind of healthy meal prepared earlier in the week when you have got a bit more time that's ready and waiting. So you don't even have to think about what you're going to have. So think about what challenges you might face and have a plan in place to overcome them. Plan, plan, plan. Then another thing that you can do to help you ensure that you achieve these goals is to have an accountability buddy. You're much more likely, up to 95% more likely to achieve your goals if you've got an accountability buddy. And that might be somebody that you've just shared your goals with and told them that this is what you want to do. You're more likely to do it if you've done that, because you feel that kind of peer pressure to stick to it. It might be that you can find somebody who's got the same goal as you and you can do it together. Or it might be that you need to find a coach or somebody that can keep you accountable and keep you on track. But you are much more likely, it's up to 95% more likely to achieve your goal if you've got an accountability buddy. And then the next thing is to learn what you need to know. If there are gaps in your knowledge, if there are things that you're not sure about, that you need to know before you can achieve your goal, then find someone who can teach you those things. It might be that it's a Google search, it might be that you need to go and speak to somebody, but work out where the gaps are in your knowledge of what it takes to achieve your goal, and then find somebody or somewhere that you can find that information and learn what you need to know. And then my next tip is to have a visual prompt of what it is you're trying to achieve. So if you've got an image, a photo, a collage of something that is what you want to get to in the end. So it might be a picture of someone doing the job that you want to do. It might be a picture of you at your perfect weight where you feel comfortable inside your body. It might be if you're trying to save money and your goal is to save money for a holiday, it might be a picture of where it is you want to go on holiday. If you've got that visual reminder and it's somewhere where you're going to see it on a regular basis, that's going to help to keep you on track and keep you motivated, especially when things start to get tough, as they inevitably will. There will be challenges along the way. And then this one might be a little bit out there, but it really does work. So as I say, there will be days when there's a bit of a challenge. There will be days when you don't do all your actions that you want to do daily to move you closer to your goal. That's just life. You know, things get in the way. We get tired, we get stressed, we get curveballs thrown at us that we're not expecting. So if you can, while you're here at this planning stage, write yourself a letter. You could do it on email if you want, but it's much better, I think, to do it on paper and pen if you can. Write yourself a little letter of encouragement. Imagine that you're writing to your best friends and they've been trying to achieve their goal and they've had a bad day and they've not quite made it. And just write some really encouraging phrases down in that letter to yourself. Sort of, like, you're doing really well, keep going. This is just one day. Tomorrow's a new day. You can get started again. You're just human. It's quite normal to have a day when you wobble a little bit, those sorts of things. And just write them down in a letter, put it in an envelope, pop it somewhere safe. And then if you do have one of those bad days, you can go and pick that letter up and read it. And it's a bit like being your own accountability buddy, I guess, your own little cheerleading team. Or if you want to, you could get somebody else to do that for you. But the key thing is not to be too hard on yourself. Too often we have a bad day and we give up immediately. So maybe we have one chocolate bar and we think, right, that's it, the healthy eating's gone out of the window today. I might as well give up because I'm not going to lose any weight this week. And then we go down that slippery slide. Whereas if we can just work to the principle that you start again the next day and you've got your 5 simple actions that you're going to take daily to move you closer to your goal, and just view each day as a new start, and you can just try again tomorrow. And don't be too hard on yourself. So that is my process for setting heartful goals. So I'll just quickly summarize before we end, and then I want to tell you about some special offers that I've got where I can help you work on this a bit more, because I know I've kind of rushed through it a little bit. So think about what goal it is you want to achieve. Think about 3 things that you've done in the past that have helped you to move towards that goal. 3 things that you're doing right now that are moving you towards that goal. And 3 things that you'd like to do or like to give a try to that you think could move you closer to your goal. And then the 3 things that you're doing already, keep doing them. Make a note of them somewhere to do them every day. And the other 2 categories, the things you've done in the past and the things you want to do in the future, just start with 1 of each and do those every day. And then you can start to add in some of the other things as well once you've got those as part of your habit and they're well established. And then check that your goals are heart, so that they are healthy, enduring, alluring, relevant, and true. And that's really important. And then think about the challenges that you might face along the way, and also how you can mitigate for those, and whether you can find yourself an accountability buddy. And if you're not sure who to use, then I say I've got a couple of special offers for you, for people that are watching this live or the recording. So I say I'm a life and wellbeing coach, and at the minute I offer 2 different packages. So I offer a one-off Empower Hour, which is normally £60, and that's 60 minutes for you and I to get together and to work through this process together and actually flesh it out. And I can help you to work out what exactly the actions are that you should be taking and to have a plan in place. I say that is normally £60, but I'm offering it to you tonight and until the end of February for just £45. And that might be enough. That might be all you need, is just that 1 hour to set your action plan in stone, and then you can go off and move forward and reach your goals by yourself. If you feel like that's not quite enough and you would like that accountability of having someone alongside you to help you with that, and you'd like some more sessions to go back and maybe work on maybe some limiting beliefs, some things that are holding you back, if you are feeling a bit scared by any of the steps that you need to take, or you're not sure how to do things, then I offer something called the Wellbeing Boost, which is 6 sessions of 1 hour of coaching with me. And that's normally £299. But what I'm offering for you tonight is that if you have the Empower Hour with me first at £45, and then you decide that you want to carry on and build it into a 6 session plan, so you'd have a further 5 sessions after your Empower Hour, I will take the price you've paid already for the Empower Hour off, and you'll only pay £255 for the remaining sessions. So you'll still get 6 sessions with me, but for £255 instead of £299, and that is payable in instalments as well. And if you're not sure whether any of that's for you, you're not sure whether I would be able to help you or whether we'd work well together, then I do offer a free discovery call service, and you can book a free discovery call with me, and that can either be in person if you're local to me, or we can do that over the phone or over Zoom, and we can have a chat, and you can just tell me what your goals are, what things you've got in place. So if you're still not sure, then we can just have a chat about what sorts of things you might want to think about setting as goals, and whether we can then explore whether it would be right for you then to book an Empower Hour or a Wellbeing Boost after that. So yes, if you'd like to take advantage of any of those things, then do contact me. And we can get those booked in. They are available to book through my website, and there's more information on there on both of those things, the Empower Hour and the Wellbeing Boost. So that's www.thepeacockretreat.co.uk. Or you've got my contact details on the bottom of your email where you booked for this, or in the Facebook group. So just drop me a message and I can let you know how you can book either just a free discovery call and just have a chat, or if you want to book an Empower Hour and we can start working on your goals. And I'm really excited to see what it is that you want to improve in your well-being, and what plans you've got in place to do that and how I can support you with it. So I'm going to stop the recording here now, and then I shall open up the floor to any questions you might have.